2025. I'm Sweet. This is Sid, and we're going to kick it off how we always do. In one word, how are you feeling today? And in one sentence, what do you need today?
Oh, I am feeling balanced. Alessa and Story are back home. I went to bed at 9 o'clock last night. I'm back, baby. What do I need? I think we're on a roll, so I just really want to keep up the momentum. How about you?
Feeling divine.
Fuck yeah.
And I need to stay balanced on this wave.
Fuck yeah. What is causing the divine balance?
It's all working out.
I love it.
On all aspects. Everything is progressing. The more I realize that problems come from my mind, the more I can just focus on where my attention is and everything works. Before this call, I've been using Recoup to do my live stream titles. And I've loved this chain that I just did. Help me write my title for my live stream. The draft is the title I did last week. Search for my latest 50 YouTube videos to find which titles are already performing best. Search my tweets to see which tweets have done well. Find my latest Instagram posts, which title do best, and then draft the title. And so then it pulls all my videos. It knows how many views each one's had and how many days ago it was. It pulled all my tweets. It knows everything that I've been posting. And then it gave me a title. And then I set the title. And I did the same thing for Excelencia's stream earlier. And it was like, hey, the base one's important because important for the visibility. And it's like it delivers on the consistency. And so it knows what I've been posting and it's making it about it. And I appreciate getting to use the tool more and more. How I wanted to kick off this conversation was with a conversation I just had with Excelencia, which is for him, he is now wanting to integrate some sort of chat experience onto his site. And so I started to test, here it is, Lakis. So he wants to be able to ask questions like, who is Lakis? And then it can work on his site. And so the question I wanted to, Maravija.city. This is specifically where he wants to integrate it, is on his site. He would like on the metadata field. Right now, it's this static text that's metadata about the album. He wants it to be more engaging so people can ask, who's the producer? What can you tell me about the producer? What was his last album? What tracks were on the album? And all of that are things that Recoup already supports. So the question I sent to you is, how can I align the builds of both Excelencia and Recoup? How can this be a two birds, one stone? How can I build? I already need to build this for Excelencia, so I'm going to spend the engineering time on it. How could this also benefit Recoup so that by building it for Recoup, it serves Excelencia and we can post about it on both sides? And how I'm imagining it, and this is something we can talk about, is how can a Recoup artist chat be embedded into an artist website? So like Excelencia comes into Recoup to develop the artist, and this artist can represent the campaign. And then he takes that, and then there's like in here, export embedded chat, and you just copy that code, put it into your website, and then any artist can come in and create an artist for a campaign and modify that knowledge base and that info for a campaign. And then you would reply and said, this is perfect for Big Ass Kids, also requested this. She wants a chatbot that connects her artists with her freelancers in her community. So it sounds like you also have a seat on this. The question that I planted is, how can I align the builds of Excelencia and Recoup? Does that feel like the correct place to orient this, or do you want to pose a different question?
Well, no, I think this is awesome. And I think aligning the builds makes the most sense. And I think me posing the other use case of this for another artist, or like not even an artist, another person asking the same thing, will allow you to think about the scalability of how you build it, not just for Excelencia, but for somebody else who has a different use case, different, even it's not around a campaign. So like you can just start to think about the scalability of the infrastructure that you're building. Like I still think 100% build for Excelencia because you're already doing that. Consider, all right, well, how would I want to do this if also I wanted to give Carolyn the ability to do this? And she has like, I'll give you a quick run through of like the conversation I had with her and where we hit walls with what I was thinking of her build.
Mm-hmm.
So her use case is currently she's getting a lot of requests, manual requests from her community and potential like customers or like partners from other distributors to request for her to manually connect them to freelancers in her network. So an artist will come and say, I have a music video coming up. Who do you recommend like to direct my music video? Do you have anybody in your community? And so she now currently has to manually, because she has all the information of her community in her head, and on the community, but she'll manually go and be like, oh, okay, cool. So and so would be good for this. So and so would be good for this, etc. And so her thought was, how can I automate that process so I don't have to be the human in the loop that's like connecting the dots for people. The blocker, the biggest blocker for the chatbot version of this is that her community is hosted on Circle. And so I didn't know how customizable the Circle app allows people to add a chatbot to, like a custom thing, right? Because Circle's like it's its own SaaS platform for community building. So what I proposed to her was, well, we could build like a feature that just auto emails your selected artists every week with recommended community members to reach out to.
Right.
What I would need from her is just her to export all the CSV data or just all of the data from all of her community members so we can keep it in her back account. I was just thinking through like, how are we going to figure out like the infrastructure of like, does Carolyn create a bunch of artists around all of her community members, or do we create a big ass kids one artist with the knowledge base of like the CSV file?
Right.
So that's where I got stuck and started to think through like, how would we do this for her?
Yeah.
Not even thinking about like, let's save the chatbot until like she migrates from Circle to like her own thing. And I even like on the call showed her VO and how like she was like, I need a CTO. I don't have a CTO. I'm trying to get investment so that we could build off of Circle. And I was like, all right, first of all, you could probably build this yourself. Go use VO to like make your own version of Circle.
Yeah, V0.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there, so which then also highlighted like if Wave Zero was active, I would have directed Wave Zero and been like, hey, go do this. So that's
help be your CTO. That allows us to continue to be her whole tech team.
Exactly. So so I directed her to V0 because we didn't have Wave Zero active.
Right.
I then said, I'll help like go design the front end on Wave Zero or V0. And once you get there, I'll help you connect the back end. Because that's like a huge, blocker is like, what is Supabase? How do I do it? What blah, blah, blah. But so she's going to go do that. And then the next step was like, okay, cool. So like, how do we think about the infrastructure of, how do we store all of her community, how do we store all of her data? Like what is the atomic units broken out to is right now it's currently her account. And then she has like the artists that she's working with, but she wants to import a bunch of other artists.
Right.
Would it be her account, et cetera? Or should it just be like one big ass kids community artist and then in that knowledge base it's all thing? And I think it's very similar when we think about how we break out the architecture for Excelencia, which is like, do we create a camp? Is his account holding his artist and different campaigns as artists? Or is one artist contain all in the knowledge base, all of the campaigns he's running and deep research and et cetera. Mm-hmm. Another great example of this was I was on with September Morning. Emily.
What was that call? Emily Lazar?
Emily Lazar, great call. One, because she is like she's the ideal user from an artist perspective because she's already doing everything so manually. Like has an email list, is like booking her shows, is like she's like, so it's not like an artist who's like, help me, I don't know what to do and I'm just going to sit here and wait for a manager. She's like, oh no, I'm also being my manager, so like this can help me. The first thing she thought was, okay, we have a single coming out, and because they have already know their niche, which is metal, metal deathcore, like it's like a weird niche. It's like metal plus deathcore plus like uh some other interesting like dolls and stuff like that. But she was like, so wait, can this thing go and find me like the 100 influencers for metal doll deathcore, and then send them an email saying like, I have a single coming out, can you make a video of it? And I was like, yes, that's exactly what it does. Go do that. So she's gonna go try that. And then her other thought was, well, how would I send my fan base? Like I have an email list in Beehive. How do I send my fan base weekly emails? And I was like, currently what you would do is export all of those emails and then put it into your artist knowledge base called fan email list, and then create that scheduled action. So anyways, all this to say that like we're hitting that part where people are using it and it's getting awesome, and that's like, all right, how do we structure the database or the atomic levels of the database to make sense? But all of that to say, I fuck with this Excelencia build and think whatever you got to do to merge the two, let's do it.
So Excelencia, he wants it on his site as an embed. So embed code makes sense.
Yes.
Carolyn, envision of how someone interacts with this chat is, you said circle?
No, I think it would have. She eventually envisioned it as an embed code. I don't know if Circle allows that to happen. I don't know like what their infrastructure enables.
So in the short term, what's your vision for how someone interacts with this chat? On the scale of like a week, 2 weeks?
Email.
So someone sends...
So Recoup automatically sends an email to an artist saying, hey, you should collaborate with these people in the community. And then I don't even know if it's a chat at first or if it's just a recommendation system that she eventually wants to turn into a chatbot on her website.
I'm trying to connect the dot between like an embed and what you're referencing with Caroline recommendations.
I think I would start. I would start with Excelencia and don't connect the dots. Copy. But just start with.
What are your thoughts on, and also for Emily, just making sure I'm clear, how does Emily connect with the embedded chat? Does Emily have a site and she wanted to embed a chat, or was her use case of how you connected it's different?
Her use case was different. I don't know what her website is and if she's directing people there.
Okay. Current thought is we give a code here, or we just make it a tool, get embed code, and it gets the embed code and sends it there. Do you have any thoughts on what the experience looks like, or should I just make the decision?
You make the decision. Either or, we can always redesign it after it's built, right? So whatever you think is best for now.
Okay, copy. Excelencia focus, embed chat is one of the things. Were there other, in my mind, the next place we take this conversation is what was shipped this week. Are there other things you would like to prioritize in the combo?
No, let's go. Well, let's go. What was shipped this week, and then I want to go to the SAM meeting because that was the biggest signal for next week.
Copy. So this week, Veerball was shipping a lot of tool components, mostly related to Spotify deep research and the YouTube tool I built last week, and then all the Spotify deep research. He's still working on Spotify deep research tools. Muhammad Faisal is currently working on the new user onboarding. He has it working for an existing account, but I was testing it inside of Incognito with a brand new email, and it wasn't auto-opening the chat, so he's handling those edge cases. That should be ready by Monday so that when a brand new human lands on the site, they log in. There's no question of what do I do first. A chat immediately opens. It starts thinking. You see text stream across the screen. and it says, what's your artist name? And then you're automatically just type in a name, and then you can watch it go off to the races. There's a couple other devs, but neither of them are promising. So right now I'm thinking at the end of this week, Faisal is a dev I've already worked with. He says he's going to be able to give me more time than he did in the past. We already have that rapport. So this is compound interest built on an existing relationship. Very excited for it. In Veerball, it feels like we've gone from feeling like he's in probation to this week he shipped. We kept him in his lane. He focused on the components. He did a great job at it. He delivered. So I feel like we're starting to get the dev team built out right. And on my side, I was focused on scheduled actions. And so I'll demo that one. Actually. And so what that looks like is you can make a new chat, and then you can say, let me see actually what was the chat that I just did for generating the title. So for this YouTube, for this live stream that we're on right now, I did this title. Actually, I could just continue the chat and say, make this a scheduled action, but I would rather start it off as a new chat for right now. Please send me an email every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time with title suggestions for my next live stream. Paste the prompt. I'll put it inside a little things, and I'll just send that. So you can, if you prompt anything that would be an action that would be recurring, like send me an email every morning. So the every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time is a signal, hey, this should be like a scheduled thing that we do on a recurring basis. And so you can see they want me to schedule an email every morning. It should be referencing here the create tool. I'm going to use the create scheduled actions tool. It created one scheduled action. And so that's an example of one. And then I could say something like, actually do it 3 times a day. And so that was an example of creating one scheduled action. Do something once a day. You can also set up multiple scheduled actions in a single tool call. And so it went and it said, okay, I didn't give it time. So it auto-filled in morning, afternoon, evening to generate those cron schedules. And then now it's generating 3 scheduled actions. So you can generate as many of these as you want in one single tool call. And I think, go ahead.
Did it edit the current one, or did it just add 3?
It just added 3. So now we have a total of 4.
Got it.
I'll update the schedule to send you live stream suggestions 3 times a day instead. Yeah, it created 3 and it did not call the edit. So if we say, so create, that was one tool. List all of my, what are all my actions? What are all my schedules?
Well, this is so this is autopilot. The easier version of autopilot than what we fucking originally did. Let's go, man.
Okay, now it got 5 scheduled actions. I've got a daily Instagram post scraper, daily live stream title suggestions, morning live stream title suggestions, afternoon live stream title suggestions, and evening live stream title suggestions. So I've got a daily one. That was the original. And then I've got those 3 others that were broken up into morning, afternoon, and evening. So I can see those. I don't have delete yet. And I don't, well, now I could say something like pause. I don't think I've shipped edit. We've got create and list. Edit is in a pull request, and I have it working for modifying 1, but the same as create, I wanted it to be able to modify a bunch so that if I say pause all of my scheduled actions, it could pause it, and it could modify them all to pause it. But right now I still haven't shipped that. So it's going to say it doesn't have a tool for edit. And then it's going to send you a message likely in our Telegram chat that says, yeah, it got them, but it shouldn't be able to disable. So awesome side, and then it's contacting the team to say like, hey, we don't have anything to edit. So let the team know, and then the team will go and build that out for us. It's in a pull request. So that was my status. I've only been able to ship those 2. Awesome part of us having more devs is we're building out more things in parallel. So we're getting those tools and we're getting new user onboarding. Downside is I have spent all the way up and until my calls reviewing code. So usually I'm shipping code before my meetings. Now my entire morning is spent reviewing other people's code. So my ability to ship code is now 0 before meetings. And then after meetings, I would like to live my life and schedule things. So now I have to start weighing, like, do I want to extend my normal workday and work more, or do I just accept that I'm going to be shipping less code and we focus tasks on what the people who we have shipping code and their capabilities to be able to ship. But this is what I shipped. So now tossing it over to you. What was shipped on your side this week?
Fuck yeah, dude. This is so good. This is such a I'm so excited for this. Awesome fucking job. Quick question, just to wrap up the demo. Will delete and edit tools be done today, or is that going into next week?
Likely today. As long as I have time to ship, those are what I'm shipping today.
Awesome. All right. So then that means that like tomorrow, I mean, not tomorrow, but like, that means on Sunday, I can do the video, like, and send like the email update this week to all our users and basically do a demo of what you just showed me, including delete and edit, which I'm so excited about. I think it's going to be a huge addition to the platform. So what was shipped this week for me, I have not gotten to the error tool yet. I've just been on customer calls and setting up emails with them. The main thing that I spent yesterday doing, or maybe the day before, whatever our SAM call was like analyzing the transcript and really laying out the signal, so that it's really easy for you to grab things that you want to build, or have your devs do it if you think they can do it. So just thinking about that all the way through, and then I've been playing around with the TikTok burner account agents and N8N a little bit. N8N is really fire. Only for the soul. I mean, it's really fire, but it's really it's really complex for most users. It's easier than coding, obviously, but even I would rather use Cursor than N8N. It's cool to see things visually and the runs. That's a plus. What N8N is really dope with is they have tons of. Let me show you actually. They have tons and tons of templates, and everything is done in. Pull up a different. I'll do this one because I was using this account. Here we go. So you can see like N8N has like 2,600 workflow templates. That all you do, or let's go to AI, like generate AI videos from Google VO, save to Google Drive, upload to YouTube. And to use it, all you do is copy all of the JSON and paste it. So you could go copy, and then you could go here. I'm gonna make a new one so you could see workflow, personal. Oh. Add a new project. What's going on? Oh my god! Let's see it. How like this? All right, it's not as easy as I thought. Here we go. Create workflow. Okay, it's a blank one. All I do is Apple V, and it pastes the workflow preset up, and then I just have to go in and just change the API keys in here, which is fire. Anyways, I say all of this because what's the cool part about this is I was going through all of the workflows to see like how they're doing it, and I'm finding all of these cool tools that I didn't even know existed. So like if you go maybe I didn't save it. Is that API inline? No, I didn't save it. But anyways, there's just like a lot of cool ones in here. So I'm working on that. One of the so I've just been going and copying the JSON, pasting, and seeing like what are these agent runs and how are they doing it. One of them was like a bot that you can scrape, or you can put in any URL TikTok in Telegram, and it scrapes all of that TikTok's information, like the video, the transcript. It does all that, and then it does a perplexity search and creates a script based off of it, but for your audience. Stop over. And then what I learned was that there's a JSON to video editor online that allows you to edit videos with code, which is a fucking fire tool. So like they had an API where you can like add a bunch of, videos generated by VO, and with JSON, it will like edit it for you, add overlays, add text, add transitions, do all of that, and then post it for you. So it's like seeing, like just using it and to like do cool edits and get like more quality agent runs. So I've been working on that because I think the burner account thing was really interesting. And so thinking through like how would we get like good burner accounts going? What would that require? And those were the main things. And then kind of just thinking through like just documenting, thinking through a lot of the UI stuff that we might be missing. So I designed this, but I don't know when we'll use it. Let me show you. Figma. So I designed a pop-up for like what's new, so that every time that we launch a feature, give me a second. Let me throw the dog at you. Come on. Sorry. Anyways, it's a wireframe so that like we can announce our new features in app. So I designed that. I sent you this for that. And I started to design this idea of like the quick tools. So one click email report button. So if you want to take your chat and just like email it to yourself, you don't have to type. You can just say like email report and it'll automatically send those prompts. So that was another thing I've been designing. So just kind of like user experience stuff. And yeah, that's my update.
And then you wanted to talk about the SAM call?
I did. I think it'd be better. Did you get the link to the Notion that I sent you? Let me send it to you right quick. I think it'd be better if you steer, because then you'll understand the Notion template. I'm gonna drop it in Slack. Here, share your get that and then share your screen. Sweet. All right, cool. I tried to like simplify it into little like drop downs. So if you go to the biggest takeaways, you can open that up. And then here's the biggest takeaways. The best platform to focus on, TikTok 100% is what he said. One feature to ship next week. He said segments, which is niche community breakdowns. The emotional reaction to errors was fuck's sake. And then he switches his LLM, or gets off platform. Why he would choose Gemini over Recoup is pulling in Google Workspace docs. The first scheduled action he'd set up was the top 5 Twitter topics per artist, daily trending TikTok sounds, daily list of artist mentions. What stops wider team adoption is the red tape plus existing Gemini contract, which I think we can get past. So you get it. You can see all of this stuff. If you shrink this, I broke down all of the requests or feature requests right here. The first one was error handling. So if you drop this down, these are kind of tickets, but I didn't want to make them tickets. So I like kind of just wrote them out so that you can turn them into tickets if you want to do that. This was the first thing, was like, he said that he leaves the platform if he gets an error and it doesn't work. So simple fix is add a retry button to the error. So they don't have to press say continue. They can just click it and it like just retries again.
In the toast?
In the toast, yeah.
That would disappear after like 5 seconds, right?
Yeah. Or okay. So yeah. Or instead of in the toast, maybe like in chat or something. Just some kind of UI when a toast happens to say like error happened, retry. Let them do that.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. Chat GPT and Claude also have like a good references for this from a UI perspective of like when there's an error, it shows in the chat with like an orange like error and then a retry button.
Do we know what the biggest errors are that he's hitting?
I need to go in and double check. So no. I'm assuming it's the email error. The two ones I keep seeing without doing like actual calculations and like tracking it is like email errors and deep research errors are the two, or search errors.
The email errors are where it generates an incorrect subject and it fails the request for, or an incorrect to or from field, and then it fails to send the resend API.
Yeah.
And the deep research is Anthropic rate limit?
No, it's I'll do more. I'll look more into the errors this week or this weekend.
I've been finding recently that the initial Spotify grab on lookup, it is pulling the correct, like it looks like it's selecting the correct artist, but when it saves the artist URL into their profile, it's saving an invalid artist URL. And then when it tries to do the follow-up queries to get top tracks and to do other things, it's using an invalid artist URL. And so all those requests are failing. And even if you do continue or retry, it's still not going to work for those new artists. And so if it's that, and then this on the email side, if the email is invalid email, retrying it is also not going to do anything. Like you're going to keep retrying with, the reason it failed was from invalid info. If you retry again with invalid info, I think that's going to increase. Personally, I think a retry button, not knowing what the errors, is going to increase this. Why am I sitting here clicking retry if it's not even going to work? Like I think each retry of a fail is going to amplify this personally.
No, I agree. So the key with this error handling is we need more clarity on what the errors are so that we can actually decide.
Agreed.
Okay, cool. So let me fix this and go like this.
Agreed. I think your idea of taking the little prototype I built in Telegram and making an actual table for us to look at the errors will give us much greater ability to do the query I just asked of what is the top error that X human is running into, and us being able to do that query in an efficient way.
Got it. All right, cool. So then that is my role. I'll take this ticket, which is just to track errors better. And we can look through it next week and say, all right, these are what's going on. The next ones is 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 features that he mentioned. And so we can dive into each one if you want. The first one is fan insights reporting. So he said 2 things. One was like, I would really like segments. But then he also started to talk about also like what fans are saying. So like fan conversations, not just fan like segments. So I just tried to like write out and put as much of the signal that he said here so that you can decide how you want to build it, when you want to build it, like priority wise. Like, but this just gives you the quote he said, you know, an idea of what to build, but not like the exact thing, just like what the user was asking to build, not how to build it. And then if you scroll down, some user stories that I pulled from it. Like, again, like I don't know exactly what we need to build and or how we need to build it. I don't know if this would be like one tool, two tools, multiple tools. But if we start from the user stories, I think you can figure out how you want to build it from there, right?
Yeah, I like starting with the end in mind.
Yeah. So his specific was, I want to receive a weekly email showing what fans are currently saying about my artist, like jokes, memes, reactions, rumors, so I can brief the content team with ideas that feel timely and fan driven. Like, and then his exact example was like Pink Panther. I can't even say her name. Fans were talking about, does she have a cat? And so, like that week, one of her content ideas was her bringing her cat on an interview.
Mm-hmm.
So, like having the ability to know what fans are talking about, so she can react in real time to her fans within her content. And then the other one was, I want to discover, niche fan communities, along with how large they are, so I can decide which ones are worth building burner accounts for and creating content around or pitching for brands. So this goes back to like our current fan segments ability, and then how do we turn that into a tool so that we can then use that data to inform, like, all right, cool, like make more content, go create burner accounts with this shit.
We've done a take on segments and fans, and currently it's in a part of the site that is not actively being used.
Correct.
And so the first question I have is, do we have a fans table? I think we just have segments, and we have fans which belong to a segment. And so a fan exists only in relation to no, we have a fans table.
Remember, this was also from SyncStream, so this could be video game users.
Fans table is?
I don't know if it is, but it could be, because we have like it could be fans that clicked and played a game.
That is likely correct. This looks like SyncStream stuff and not Recoup stuff. Okay. Okay, so fan segments should be a fan social ID. Okay, so right now, fans only exist. Fans have a social, so every fan has a social. But for questions such as, I want to receive a weekly email showing what my fans are currently saying. That means I need to get fans. And right now, in order to get fans, it's going to say, what's the artist? Okay, I have the artist. And then how do I actually get those fans? What the socials exist in Supabase. What is the relationship between a table of socials and the active artist? As far as I know, in our current architecture, what it is you go from an artist ID into segments. Well, you would go into artist fan segments, artist segments. Artist segments is a link between an artist and the segments that they have, so you can filter on a specific artist, and then you'll get all the segment IDs. Then you take those segment IDs, and then you get fan segments. So these are the social of the fan in relation to a segment. And so you pick out, that one would be for whenever I want to discover niche fan communities, yada, yada, not that one. Fans are latching onto a narrative. Nope. I want to see niche communities forming around an artist. So this would be to generate those segments and to put fans inside of those segments. I want to see niche communities. So that means I want to see segments. And I don't know that I like the current, I think what is missing is just a direct relationship between, I have an artist, and then give me all of the socials that are fans of this artist. And then it returns back all the YouTube people who have commented, all of the Instagram people who have commented, follow, however we want to group them in as a fan. But we allow that, so that we would need a fan, or artist fans would probably, or account fans. Doing artists? We're doing artist segments. So probably artist fans. And then that becomes the same as this artist segments. Instead of segment ID, it's fan social ID and artist account ID, and that creates the direct link. That would allow us to then answer, this person is just asking about fans. They don't care about segments. So we should just pull fans and then get all the things across it. Don't do any sort of segmenting here. This next one, I want to discover niche fan communities along with how large they are within the artist fan base. So we need this prerequisite is we have artist fans, then create segments, examples of some of those segments we should create, and then generate segments based off the fans. So start with the artist fan relationships and then create the segments based off of that. So far only one new table needed, artist fans. We can continue to leverage the segments table and probably the fan segments table. As a content producer, I want to be alerted when fans are latching onto a narrative so I can turn those moments into content. So we just need to get all the fans and what they're talking about, and then we can group together the moments. But this, I don't think, is related to segments. This is more artist fans.
Correct.
And then as an ARR scout, I want to see what niche communities segments are forming around an artist segment examples, so I can find other artists whose fans also follow. So I'm thinking for this segments, we want an artist fans table in Supabase first. Then we need a way to populate that table. So anytime we ask who are my fan, and that's going to be a question, is what's the trigger for generating that list? What is it a tool call and someone says get my latest fans, and then we have a new tool that is get fans, and then it's likely creating small tools. It's likely going to be, we create the table in Supabase for artist fans, and then we create the same methods I'm doing right now for the scheduled actions. Create fans so that it's bulk, edit fans, list fans, and delete fans. And those are all related to an artist. From there, we can create your prompts in your agents tab that are get my socials, scrape all of my latest posts, get all of the comments from those posts, create fans based off of all of those comments. And that gives us much greater flexibility of how is a fan generated. Maybe one artist wants fans defined as people who are commenting only on his YouTube. Maybe someone else wants anybody who is liked. And instead of us defining creation, like the last time we implemented segments, we had this spinning logic and we had no idea what it was doing, and it was a black box, including myself, because I didn't even build the original algorithm. And thinking about it this time as we're missing a Supabase table of artist fans. Let's create that table. Let's build the create, read, update, and destroy methods, and then focus more attention on pushing that creativity of how do the tables get populated, modified, etc., into the hands of the end artist and their specific needs, and give them examples to prompt their creativity inside of the agents tab. I've yapped for a bit. What are your thoughts on the accomplishing this as creating a new table called artist fans and creating tools to create, read, update, and destroy, but leaving the overall algorithm of how they get generated to be filled by our own or other people's imagination, but undefined in the current build?
I like it. I love it, because starting with the end user, or starting with the end in mind, and working our way backwards and finding like, okay, the most modular thing that we can build for this is this this artist fans table first, and the tool to do that. So like 1000% agree. Yes, let's start as modular as we can, and then from there we can work our way into segments. All of the edge casements. Yeah, exactly. What makes a good segment? Is it pulling segments? And then are we missing any providers to populate some of these requests that they're asking?
Correct.
Like the first thing he mentioned was like, specifically, this was more for like fan conversations, but it was like, I would like to pull fan conversations from socials, and he also said Reddit, but like we're not currently pulling from Reddit, but we can web search, but like we would have to just be very clear about where we want it to web search. So like thinking through like what requires a tool and a table, and then what requires just clever prompting.
Right.
So let's start with like, yes, the bare bones of like Okay, well, we definitely know this needs a table and a tool and to store it, which I agree. So that would be, yes, I agree 1,000%. What is the most modular thing you can build?
I keep thinking about what I'm going to be building this next week, and I keep looking at my list, and I have the biggest thing on my list is scheduled actions, because that was what I was building last week. The question in my head is, do I need to continue to prioritize things in scheduled actions going into next week? Or if I can get edit and delete out today, I'm not focusing on scheduled actions next week, and I'm focusing on new tasks.
Correct.
Okay, so I can delete this off of my list, finish it up today, and because I have other things in here. Actually, so the things that I've unscratched off this list are Recoup Actions Worker, which I've actually already built, so I need to scratch that off. Tool for the title prompt and time to bulk create, I already have that, that's live. UI components are not done, that needs to get done next week, and that'll be on Veerball's side. So that is an important thing to communicate with Veerball, is he should focus on those new 4 tools that I just shipped. Task memories. So when a scheduled action runs, what is the conversation it's getting created in? Right now, when a scheduled action runs, it shows up as email null. We don't in our Telegram chat. So there's cleanup things like that. Get task details, and modify tasks. That is what I'm currently doing. So I can scratch that off. So really the only things that have not been addressed off my list are UI components for loading and success. We should throw that to Veerball. And important thing is to communicate to Veerball before the weekend that is his main focus for next week, is getting all those components fully built. And then the conversation storage details of, right now, I believe we're creating a new conversation, and those conversations are being created inside of the selected artist for that account. So if I open up my personal chat, I'll have 1 million conversations from all the scheduled actions that have been running, as well as in our own Telegram reporting on the /API/chat route. We accept an email param. And I'm thinking to fix that. We delete the email param. Don't worry about passing an email param from the front end. We will always look up the email based off of the account that gets passed, because the account gets passed in more contexts. And so we can reduce the parameters being passed and have higher guarantees that we have more information. So the question for you is, do I ignore those last little threads, throw them out? If they become important in the future, let's handle them, but let's wipe our hands clean, just let Veerball do the UI tasks? Or is it still worth me prioritizing these things to fully complete these last little back-end admin things?
What's your gut?
Get rid of it and keep moving forward.
Perfect. Let's do that. From my side, I want to be able to grab the actions when we launch it all next week, so that we can see actions, but we can track actions, scheduled actions in the founder dashboard.
Is the current table sufficient, where you have a table that shows since I'm sharing screen, is this table sufficient for you to query from?
Yeah, I believe so, because we'll just be able to just pull like.
What's a query you'd want to pull in your founder's dashboard?
I just literally want to be able to track. Like if you go to the founder's dashboard real quick. And then conversations. And then scroll down.
We went back down to 0.
That's what it says on 24. Or wait, it's on 7 days. Yeah, it is. But okay, so you see how it says 28, or under each email, it says 32 messages, 0 reports. I just want to add one that says scheduled actions, to just list how many scheduled actions do they have running currently.
Yep.
Actually, I don't actually, wait, let me think. Instead of running,
in total, and then you can, so what you can, you're going to filter is the account ID. So if you have an email, you can get the account, filter on the account ID to get all the actions that are there from that person. And then you can do filtering on only enabled, if you want to get paused or not paused. If you want to show when the last time it was run, when the next time it was run, if you want to sort them by, I think your initial query is just get all of them by the account ID, and that'll get you your initial number of total tasks, whether they're paused or not. And then if you want to do additional queries, the data should be here for you, right?
Yes, but if it's a one scheduled action in this table that is set up to do 3 daily messages, 3 daily emails, would that count as 3 or 1 scheduled action?
Depends on how they schedule it. That's going to be based off of the cron. So it scheduled actions.
There's
In
so
my
much.
case of what I demoed here, I created multiple. So here's my morning, evening, and afternoon, and we've got 3 different crons. You could also do the, it could also be built as one, and then you do it like this down here divided by 5, where I said scrape it every X number of minutes. And so this is one scheduled action, but the time cadence is it's more than on a daily basis. And so you can
All right, I see what you're saying. So I think maybe I'll start with how many scheduled actions do they have, and then the following week we'll start to break it into like what we'll be able to track. Like, well, does one of their scheduled actions send them a report every minute? So they're really using the platform 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so we'll be able to see exactly what they're scheduling. But for now, it'll just be, all right, cool. How many people are using scheduled actions?
Yeah. I think it would be helpful hearing you say that would be if I click on 5 scheduled actions, it expands a table where I see the cadence every 5 minutes. It converts this kind of non-human readable cron string into human readable every 5 minutes, once a day at 1 p.m. That way we can see the cadence. And
yeah,
I would be interested in seeing the cadence. I think that's the thing I'm most interested in is like, what is the cadence people are setting? Is it every minute? Because that's a lot of LLM tokens. Is it once a week? That is a whole different question. And the amount people are using it is going to determine the amount of LLM tokens that are just being used in the background without anybody actively doing it. Even if they forgot or they're getting annoyed about it, like.
Well, also I want to think about like this from the query of the time period, right? So let's say that this right now is, if you scroll up and then filter it by 24 hours or last 24 hours instead of last 7 days, and then scroll down, you'll see like the messages that they sent in the last 24 hours, like everything changes, right? So schedule, like should I do it instead of like the scheduled action, the last scheduled action run within the last 24 hours, right? Or set like, so like I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out is like, do we want to see from a time period perspective over the last 30 days, this person created 30 scheduled actions or they ran 130 scheduled actions?
Right. The only thing that you can run those queries on only get stuff based off of when it was run or when it was created or when it was updated. The thing that we don't have is every single time one of these runs, we're not tracking every single run. So if you say how many times has this single cron been run, we don't have that data initially. That would have to be like going into the artist conversations, trying to look up, give me all the conversations for this account and this artist, and try to figure out which of these conversations were created as a result of the scheduled actions. I didn't think that data is super important right now, and it would just be a lot. Am I incorrect? And we do want to be able to link scheduled actions to scheduled actions conversations?
No, I don't want to overcomplicate it right now. If we get to a point where we're like, well, let's get, when we get to it, we'll get to it.
Copy. Cool. The main question of me bringing us back into scheduled actions was to know if I could clear the big blocky text off of how I'm prioritizing my week. It's been deleted. That gives me a lot of free space in my head now to be asking what are the things I'm prioritizing next week. So far, what I've got on my list that carried over from last week are YouTube, which I think we've done, but could be expanded. Cron and scheduled events, which we are actively doing, and I can now cross that off. Onboarding, which is in process from one of the other devs. Wave 0, which is more or less on pause. And then the 2 new things we've added this week that were not on last week are embedded chat for Excelencia and segments/artist fans for Sam. Out of that list, if you're picking one so far, and then we'll go through, that's the list I have so far. Let's keep going back to your list. Is this correct way to prioritize our time right now?
Correct. Yeah, let's just keep going down the list.
Copy. Are we good on fan insights reporting?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, TikTok burner account.
All right. This was the big one. Sam wants an agent that automatically creates and runs multiple burner TikTok accounts for each artist, posting content daily based on fan trends and audience data from Recoup. The goal is to test content ideas, grow a fan base in niche segments, amplify rollout moments without needing manual effort from the team.
It's a lot.
That is like it's a huge ticket. That's like a week's worth of work.
It's a whole fucking product in and of itself.
Correct. If we can minimize that into a day, and he said day to train it, which means that if we can minimize it into a 1 minute long agent run, we've just like this literally saves 3 junior marketing jobs.
There's a lot of humans right now that are running accounts like this, and if we could automate it, I agree.
I also think that, which was the most independent artists do not have a burner TikTok strategy. They don't even know that this shit is what labels are doing.
Yeah.
And if we were able to give artists the ability to have their own burner account management system and create and manage burner accounts for them, it directly adds to what our goal of give independent artists the power of a major label. So I had a call with this guy this week. Yeah, I had a call with him.
Which one is it? Is it app.Flutterfy? I guess they're all Flutterfy.io, right?
Yeah. So I called him this week. Cool guy. It's so what they're building now is a virtual AI, I'll call it burner accounts, but it's not all burner accounts. It's a marketplace. It's a marketplace that creates mass seeding at your fingertips. So what it does is I have a song and I want to get it in front of as many people as possible. So he has 5,000 or 10,000 burner accounts, either that they created or that are like AI created other people, like, you know, like that is like just a marketplace that he sends the song to it, just, and then they just start, they do a post or multiple posts on the 10,000 burner accounts with that song.
Nice.
So it's like this mass distribution model, but what it doesn't do is give the artist the ability to own the burner accounts. Right. So like every time that the artist wants to do another rollout, they have to pay Flutterfy for another campaign.
Yeah.
And they're charging between $5,000 and $15,000 per run.
Beautiful.
Meaning that it's mostly out of every artist's reach. If you're not a
Is it possible to spin up a new account via API?
I do not know. I have not tried.
When you spun up your grandma account, you manually did that and then connected it to N8N?
Correct.
Okay.
So that was the big, I have that on the list or in the notes of like, that's the big magic moment.
Right, because Flutterfy also, it sounds like they have their accounts. They set those up manually. They spent a lot of time getting those up, and now that they have them, I'd be curious if anybody offers something that is the ability to create them.
Well,
so,
like, okay.
So far in my mind, this model starts with the account already exists and they bring it and we talk them through how to create it. That way we are not blocked by a question mark of, is something possible? And we focus on, there's a lot of, after we have the account, there's a lot that needs to get built. So let's focus on that because the path is clear and continue to keep the question mark of, is it possible? And if so, how can we programmatically spin those up? I would
say do the opposite. I think every engineer is going to go for that the first thing that you said, which is, okay, cool. It's really hard to do this one thing. So let's do the other thing and make it. I'm saying, all right, how do we build a tool that can spin up accounts for socials? Like, whether it be like, okay, cool. I know for TikTok, so you can either use a phone number or an email address. So if we had a tool or an agent run that was able to create a new email address or Recoup email address or create a new Recoup phone number, use that to spin up accounts and verify authentication and CAPTCHA. That is like the holy grail of we now can control, an agent can control a social media account without having to worry about API bullshit. So that's where I would go with this thing is let's reverse engineer from the magic moment, not from the the what's currently possible moment.
That would likely be a browser agent, like something that opens a browser and sure. That if that is the thing, we can focus on it. It will. Let's keep ideating it in the long term. Anything else you want to talk about on TikTok burner account, or do we move on to the next one?
Let's move on.
Cool. Artist mentions monitor.
This one kind of goes hand in hand with what artists create or fan conversations, but it's like it broadens it a little bit more. His specific request was every day send me 10 tweets or 10 articles that have my artists in it, so we know what's going, like what just we're constantly updated with what's going on the internet about my artist.
I guess I just realized we're at hour. Which is more important for us to talk about if we only cover one more of these?
I think we're good. I think these two are bigger lifts, so let's keep them here for now, and we'll just. I mean, it sounds to me like the most safe and simple next step moving forward is just starting with the segments infrastructure and table for fan accounts or artist fans for next week. Am I right?
I agree.
So let's start there. Plus whatever you're doing with Excelencia. I think that will also free you up a lot to build out with Excelencia the best version of what he wants.
Agreed. And then Veerball gets scheduled action components, and Faisal is currently on onboarding. Maybe we keep him there. Are there other things that we can? He's currently working on. If you sign in with a brand new email and you don't have any artists, we open up a brand new chat prompting you to create an artist. Are there other things that we want to expand him on the onboarding flow to really focus on brand new people that are coming in as a result of marketing, making sure that they have a top tier experience? Or do we wrap him up on what he's doing and move him somewhere else?
I have two thoughts on that. One is, or not two thoughts. One thing I want to add to onboarding, and it's not even onboarding. It's just like the user experience when they get on the platform is adding that what's new pop-up. So if we have a new launch, or a new feature, and somebody lands and they haven't seen the pop-up yet, it shows like introducing agents tab, and then they could just press continue, and then they never see the pop-up again. But it shows them what's new.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I think would be super beneficial to make sure people understand what's going on. The second thing is, it might be a little bit more complex, but like you had mentioned, giving them the option, so it's not just an artist that they create, but it's create a new. I don't know what we want to call them if it's not artists, but it allows, instead of it saying create new artists, it's like, are you a visual artist? Are you what are you trying to create here? Because a lot of the people that I'm running into who are not artists are saying, what do I do? I don't have a Spotify, but it's like looking for my Spotify. It's like they're getting stuck if they're not an artist. I think Repeat right there, but I'm on a call, so I can't do anything about it. Okay. So the couple things I was thinking through of that is like for ChatGPT and I think Claude and stuff, when the user logs in, not when they create artists, but like when the user logs in, it asks them like, okay, how are you using this? Or what do you do for a job? And you can kind of select, and it kind of, I guess, saves that metadata. So my initial thought was just like, when you press the plus button before it says create new artist, it gives you like a little pop-up that says, are you trying to create a musician? Are you trying to create a visual artist? Are you trying to create a campaign? Like what is it that you're trying to do? And then kind of based on that selects the prompt.
So you're saying on the create artist button in the bottom right?
Yeah.
Click on that, and then it opens up a drop down of what type, either musician, artist, or campaign.
Correct. But actually, now I'm thinking that though, like then like what does that even mean? Like when you create a campaign, what is the we then need to create a whole new flow of like what we would want the run to be for that thing. So maybe this is like requires way more thought now that I'm thinking it through. And the easier one is what's new pop up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would start there then.
Copy. Anything else to cover on this call this week?
No, I think we're good.
If you made it this far, make sure to give us a like, give us a follow, and leave us a comment down below what you want to see us cover next.